If you were to travel along Thomas's branch line, you'd be sure to spot a delightful Maithwaite station, a favorite of many. It's also home to a special member of the branch line family, Sierra the station cat. Sierra was adored by engines and people alike. Everybody loved to see her. Well, that is everyone, except for Thomas. Thomas thought it was all silly. A station's no place for a cat, he said. She's far too close to the railway for it to be safe. They do it at other stations, you know, said Bertie before chuckling. I think you're just jealous that she's getting more attention than you. Thomas scoffed indignantly, but before he could reply, Bertie roared away laughing. As he did, no one seemed to notice two figures slipping quietly into one of Clarabelle's compartments. Thomas made good time and arrived early at the junction, but he was too busy brooding over Bertie's comment to realize. When James arrived with his connecting train, Thomas thought he was late. "What time do you call this?" he snapped. James was taken aback. "What do you mean? I'm on time." "Nonsense. I've been waiting here for ages," retorted Thomas. "You just don't know how to manage trains." James glared crossly and snapped back at the tank engine. But as the two argued, they failed to notice a scene unfolding on the platform. The two mysterious figures were slowly leaving Clarabelle when the guard appeared suddenly. "Excuse me, gentlemen," he said sternly, "but might I see your tickets, please?" The two men panicked and tried to run. The guard was able to grab one, but the other slipped away. Luckily, he didn't get far, as colliding with a nearby porter foiled his escape plans. By now, the two engines stopped arguing and noticed the commotion. "What's happening?" asked Thomas. "These gentlemen thought they could ride our train without paying," explained the guard. "They must have slipped on at Maithwaite, I reckon." James then burst out laughing. "Dear, oh dear, little Thomas. Far dodges. My, it looks like you don't know how to manage trains." Thomas went red in the face as James departed, still laughing heartily. That night, Thomas was still brooding about the entire ordeal. "It's that silly cat's fault," grumbled Thomas. "Come on, Thomas. I don't think that's quite the case," said Toby, but Thomas wouldn't have it. "If people didn't fuss about her, they might have noticed what had happened." Toby knew Thomas was the one to forget logic when he was fed up, so he decided to go to sleep instead. Left with no one to grumble to, Thomas eventually retired to sleep himself. But when he awoke the next morning, he felt no better. Dark clouds loomed above in the skies, threatening to rain, which didn't help his mood. As he slunk out of the sheds, the rain started falling. It rained hard, but only in a short burst. By the time Thomas had reached Maithwaite, it had stopped again. The threat still loomed, however, and no one wanted to take a chance. Passengers ducked in and out of the coaches as Thomas sat bored. Annie and Clarabelle thought it was a good thing Sierra wasn't in his sight. As the train waited, the guard went to the station to speak with the station master. He had barely gone when Thomas's fireman looked back along the platform. "Hang about," he called. "Something must be up," he told the driver. The driver looked too. There, besides Clarabelle's guard's compartment, stood Sierra, hissing at something inside the coach. The fireman decided to investigate. There, standing amongst the luggage of the passengers, stood a very startled man who clearly didn't belong there. The fireman acted quickly and brought the man out as the guard returned. "What's happening?" the guard asked. "I think someone's trying to nick from our train," explained the fireman. The driver and the station master quickly joined him, but Thomas was confused. He couldn't see what was happening. "What's going on?" he called. Someone tried to steal some luggage from our train, his driver told him. We've gone away with it, if not for someone's help. Thomas was relieved, but confused. Whose help? His driver stepped before him with Sierra in his arms. Thomas was surprised. Sierra? Sierra saved the day? Yes, indeed, laughed his crew. Thomas's face lit up with a smile. My, what a wonderful cat, he said. His crew laughed again, as Sierra just purred. Nowadays, Thomas isn't upside to her anymore. Quite the opposite. He thinks she's wonderful. In return, Sierra took a shine to him too, and sometimes comes and noses around inside his cab. Thomas feels very honored, and now insists that he's the biggest fan of Sierra, the Maithwaite Station cat.